I might be the only FPL manager stupid enough to own both Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford going into game week 8. Crazy or genius, you're going to have to let me know in the comments section. But welcome to my game week 8 team reveal video. If you're looking forward to this one, make sure you drop a like and smash that subscribe button because you're not going to want to miss this one. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, first up, let's set the scene going into game week 8. I had 2 free transfers available, a bit of money in the bank, and a big red arrow to 1,042,379. Literally hurts me to say that overall rank, but I am more than confident that I am going to turn it around in the next few game weeks. And it's also worth noting, I still have my wildcard available, but with 2 free transfers, I didn't feel like a wildcard was necessary for my team. You be the judge of that after you see this team reveal. So, spoiler alert, I have already made a free transfer to this team, which I will reveal. I done that on Sunday night. If you're a follower of the channel, you probably already know what that is. But first up, in the goalkeeper department, I still have Pickford. I don't know how this has happened. I've stuck with the Pickford-Turner rotation all season, and I still haven't had a clean sheet in my team. I thought last week would have been the case with Pickford at home against Luton, but he still managed to not keep a clean sheet. So I have zero expectation going into this weekend for a Pickford clean sheet. But do I fancy many goalkeepers for a clean sheet? Not really. And with a free transfer, I really want to go for those moves that are going to give me the most upside. And making a goalkeeper transfer just isn't that going into game week 8. So right now, I'm going with Pickford at home against Bournemouth. Moving into the defence, and as you can see on your screens, the first transfer that I made going into game week 8 was Matty Cash. I ended up selling Ruben Diaz on Sunday night for cash. The reason why I done it is because I knew Matty Cash was a player that I wanted long term, whether it be on a wildcard or part of a free transfer strategy. And at the time, I didn't know that Estupiñán was going to get injured. So I looked at my defence and thought to myself, Estupiñán looks really good from game week 10 onwards. Ruben Diaz is taking up a lot of money in my team, and he doesn't really offer that real high upside that I want from my defenders. So I ended up selling Ruben Diaz to Matty Cash before Matty Cash's price went up, because I was expecting his price to at least go up by 0.2 between then and Saturday's deadline. So I just thought it was right to get it done. I knew there was risk regarding injuries for midweek football, but because I had the wildcard in my back pocket, if I had loads of injuries happen in my team, which lo and behold they have happened, I could always pull out the wildcard. So Matty Cash in the team, and that has left me with 0.9 million in the bank and 1 additional transfer remaining. The other 2 defenders I'm more than happy with. Yes, those that are wildcarding are going to have maybe better teams, but this back 3 right now of Udogie, Cash and Trippier I think are pretty optimal, especially Trippier, because I know a lot of people that are wildcarding right now will not be able to afford Trippier. So I'm hoping with the fact that I'm not currently planning on using my wildcard, Trippier could be that joker in the pack for me, where if he does get another double-digit haul, that is just going to be even more sweeter this week, knowing that a lot of managers sold him going into game week 8. So I'm really happy with the back 3 going into this weekend. It's just the fact that Estupiñán is injured and his price is going to continue to fall over the international break, which is my one worry. But I like him from game week 10 onwards, so I need to assess that situation closer to the game week 8 deadline. Okay, so I'm sure this is the part of the video that you were looking forward to, probably to have a laugh about my current midfield. As I said at the start of the video, I still have double Man United midfield. I spoke about it last game week. I looked at that home fixture against Crystal Palace and I saw other teams in the FPL community move away from Man United. And I just really didn't expect them to be as bad as they were, because on the face of it, I spoke about it. If United deliver, my game week delivers. And looking at my team right now and the way that other FPL teams are moving towards the likes of Mo Salah, obviously going for the Spurs double up in midfield, and even getting some differentials like a Diaby if he was to be fit. Once again, my game week completely relies on Man United delivering at home against Brentford. Now, of course, it isn't optimal. If I was to wildcard right now, I probably wouldn't have a single Man United midfielder in my team. But as I mentioned, my plan is still to hold off on my wildcard, and I will touch on that in a minute later on in the video. But at the time of recording, the plan was originally to sell Marcus Rashford for Son. I've got the money available, and it's such an obvious move to make. Bring in the guy who's playing as a forward for Spurs, get rid of the guy who literally is coming off early and looking terrible. However, I did not expect the injury to Saka to be potentially ruling him out for the weekend. Now, Bukayo Saka at home against Man City originally, not good on paper, but with Rodri out of this Man City team, I fancy Arsenal to nick a goal, maybe even win the game. And Saka is not a player that I really wanted to sell, especially being against Chelsea next week, which I think is trickier than others give credit for, but I still fancy Arsenal to get a goal there. And then, of course, game week 10, where they have their brilliant home fixture against Sheffield United. So in an ideal world, I wouldn't sell Bukayo Saka, but on the face of it right now, I'm going to put the fixtures up between both Arsenal and Man United. The next two for Arsenal against Man City and Chelsea. Compare that to Man United's fixtures of Brentford and Sheffield United. I just think it's really difficult for me to justify selling Marcus Rashford for Son this game week and then have the potential chance of Saka not even playing and then me having to have Kabore come off the bench. It's just not an ideal situation to be in. So, it's not good, but I'm now currently considering selling Bukayo Saka for Son in my team. And that will leave me with a midfield which looks pretty good, but still relies on Man United double midfield. So if I do make that intended transfer of Saka to Son, this is how the midfield would look. Now, if I didn't tell you the opening 7 game week results for Man United, you'd be sat there thinking to yourself, that is a damn good team. Man United at home against Brentford, who I think are flying under the radar, is struggling a little bit. I think the absence of Raya obviously being sold, no Ivan Toney, no Henry, even the likes of Sade now being out for them. I think slowly their squad is really getting stretched. Now, Man United are in a torrid moment right now, but surely they are going to do something against Brentford. They have to get going at some point this season, and I get it. Would I rather have Mo Salah this week? Absolutely, but could Man United do something against Brentford? I think the answer is yes. So once again, I am putting my faith in Man United to basically save my game week. If we run a situation, if Rashford or Bruno Fernandes get a goal and assist, this will look like a green arrow for my team. But let's make no bones about it. If Man United once again put up a woeful display and don't do anything, then this is going to be a monster red arrow going into game week 8, because simply put, people will have Mo Salah, people will have the likes of Jarrod Bowen, who I think could do well this weekend, and my team could be absolutely decimated. So, firstly, let me know in the comments, am I stupid for continuing the faith with the Man United pair? I could pull the wild card, I could start to sacrifice the team, but as I'm going to discuss in a minute, I don't think the team needs the wild card. Now, looking at the forwards, while other managers are obviously going for the Haaland-Watkins combination, I still have the Julian Alvarez-Haaland double up. And to be honest with you, I get it. Watkins had an unbelievable week last week with the hat-trick, but is he going to continue to do that week in, week out? I do not think so. Has Alvarez been one of the best value forwards in the game? Absolutely. The problem with it is, on the face of it, this fixture isn't good away against Arsenal. I don't expect Man City to score 2, 3, 4 goals. So I think the ceiling is quite low for both of these assets. Whereas one would view Watkins potentially having a higher ceiling going into this weekend and beyond. But the problem with it, I don't want to be too short-sighted, because Julian Alvarez could easily get a goal against Arsenal. He's been in great form. Man City in general, I fancy to score against any team. And then after this game week, they're at home against Brighton. Now, currently, everybody's making the argument that the reason why they want to get Mo Salah this game week is because Brighton defensively are terrible and Salah could do well. But then, if you're selling Alvarez as part of your wildcard, you're going to get to game week 9, and I bet the narrative will change. I bet the narrative will be, oh, but it's Brighton, they might put up a tough test against Man City. No, the same narrative needs to continue for both game week 8 and game week 9. If you're saying that Brighton is an easy game for Liverpool in game week 8, then the same logic is going to apply for game week 9 when Man City are at home against Brighton. And when we look at game week 9, I'm more than happy to have Julian Alvarez for that fixture. So, look, this is how the team's looking. The transfers of Cash and Son will leave me with this team. Does this need a wildcard? That's the big question. Realistically, if I was to wildcard, and it's worth noting, I have lost all value in the game now. So if I make a wildcard, it is literally being done at the worst possible time. I should have been doing it 5 days ago. I'll probably downgrade Trippier to Dan Burn. That's a big downgrade. I would then upgrade Rashford to Salah. That's great. I would then obviously get rid of Fernandes to a mid-price midfielder, which probably be the shape of a Bowen or a Ward-Prowse. that could be better. But again, Bruno Fernandes, I still think is a great FPL option. I think we're all jumping to conclusions right now. And then obviously I would change Alvarez to Watkins just to get with the trend that our managers are going for. So is that better? I don't necessarily think it is. So right now, this is the plan. Saka to Son and go with this team going into game week 8. I need you to let me know in the comments, am I going mental right now? And what I want to quickly show you after the captaincy is why I think even a game week 9 wildcard isn't good for my personal team. So quickly, in terms of captaincy, if Son is going to be available, and we've seen him pictured in training this week, which is great news, I think the captaincy is just an obvious choice on him. Haaland could do stuff against Arsenal, but realistically, got to play the fixtures in front of us. So Son captain with the vice captaincy on James Maddison, because I think he will play the full game. And if there was a risk that Son won't play, I would happily have Maddison as my backup choice. So that is probably the way I would go. If I had Salah, I probably would just favour Salah over Son because I fancy Salah to play the full game, whereas Son could easily only play 90. Outside of that, you could go for a few other differential choices in the game, but I think Son, in my case, is the obvious captaincy pick. Now, you might have been shouting at your screens the whole time telling me, Nacho, just pull the wild card, get it done. But as I said, I have lost all value in all the players that I would have bought, that I literally wouldn't be able to afford a good wild card team now. So I've kind of made my bed and I've got to sleep in it. But the reason also why I don't want a wild card in game week 8, aside from the facts that I mentioned, I don't want to sell Trippier. I still think Alvarez is a good pick. I'm kind of still putting some blind faith in Man United. Game week 9, I literally cannot wildcard this team. Just check it out. If Turner does retain his position in the Nottingham Forest team, the back 3 looks unbelievable. You then got the midfield 5, and again, yes, Man United might be terrible, but if we see some sort of glimmer of hope from them, then Sheffield United away is a brilliant fixture for them. And then we got the Man City double up at home against Brighton. Now, the only player I personally think I am missing from this team or investment would be Liverpool at home against Everton. But you can't own them all sometimes. So if I am not going to play my wildcard in game week 8, I do not see myself wanting to play the wildcard in game week 9 unless some injuries arose or something crazy happened in game week 8 where I just said to myself, I literally cannot go without that player. For example, if Trent, Salah and Darwin Núñez all play in game week 8 and they just literally look unstoppable, then I might be forced to play the wildcard. But this team in itself, if I wasn't to be influenced by the FPL community, how can you pull the trigger on a wildcard on this team? So at the time of recording, a game week 10 wildcard is potentially on the cards just because I literally have no Liverpool investment. Maybe that's the route to go for. A game week 10 wildcard, get myself on Arsenal, get myself on Liverpool and other teams that I want to target. And then I could potentially look to long-term plan. Otherwise, a game week 19 wildcard might be in favour. But again, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Yes, guys, okay, that is going to wrap up today's video. I really hope it has brought some entertainment for you, considering I'm going into this game week with double Man United. As I said, I am literally make or break going into this week. I will either get a decent green arrow with Man United winning against Brentford, or I honestly think I could be 2 million come next week. So regardless, you're going to want to make sure you're subscribed to the channel, because either way, it is either going to be the highest of highs or the lowest of lows, and you're probably going to want to check that out for ahead of game week 9. So I will be live going into the game week 8 deadline, so I'll hopefully see you guys there. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you later on. Take care. Cheers.